So today's lesson is going to be on reading scatterplots, and which will lead us to tomorrow's lesson, which will be on making scatterplots. And that will actually be the last lesson before we take a unit test on Friday. So let's talk about what a scatterplot is. This is a scatterplot. Okay. Notice that it kind of looks like a line graph, doesn't it? It has dots, okay, that are put onto the graph, okay? However, on a scatter plot, we do not connect the dots, okay? So I know on a normal line graph, we would connect all of these dots, but on a scatter plot, we don't do that, okay? If I break down the word scatter, means like everything goes everywhere. So like think about, you have a handful of marbles, okay? If you drop those marbles, they're going to scatter everywhere, right? And plot just means put those dots on the graph. Okay, so we do not connect the dots ever on a scatter plot. Okay, what we're doing with a scatter plot is we're looking to see what the trend is. Okay, remember the trend is the relationship between the two pieces of information that we have. Okay, so for instance, we're talking about TV prices. That's our title here. Our x-axis is screen size in inches, so that's how big the screen is. And our y-axis is the price in dollars. Okay, so the two pieces of information that we're seeing if they have a relationship is how big the TV is and how much it costs. Okay, so if I'm looking at this scatter plot, one thing I want to do, I don't connect the dots, but I kind of see if there's a trend. So if I were to draw an arrow that encompasses all of the dots, I can see that that trend is increasing. Okay, what that tells me is the bigger the TV size, okay, so the bigger it is, I'm going this direction, the bigger the size is, the more money it costs. Okay, the more money it costs. All right, so that's the point of looking at a scatter plot. We are looking to see about this trend. We're looking to see if there's a relationship. If I have a scatter plot like this, whoops, I didn't draw a very straight line there. If I have a scatter plot and all my dots are literally just all over the place like this, and there's no trend, okay, I can't tell if it's increasing, I can't tell if it's decreasing, there's no trend whatsoever, then that means there's no relationship. Okay, so then the two pieces of information that I have on my x and y axis have nothing to do with each other. Okay, so let me give you an example of that. Let's say my x-axis is number of pets, and my y-axis is favorite color. Okay, those things have nothing to do with each other. Okay, the fact that I have two pets and my favorite color is pink literally has no relationship. That doesn't matter. Okay, if I have, let's say, another one where we're talking about grades on a test and number of minutes spent studying, okay, that's probably going to have a relationship. most likely the more minutes, so the more minutes you study, probably has a higher grade. Okay, so again, that would give us something that sort of goes like this. Okay, so if my dots are everywhere and there's no trend at all, that means there's just no relationship. Otherwise, we're looking to see what that trend actually is. All right, so we have an example here. This says the graph below shows the ages and prices of 15 used cars at Sam's Wheels and Deals. I can see that because I have the title of used car prices. Describe how the prices of the older cars compare to the prices of the newer cars. As with any graph, when I have a scatter plot, I look at the title. That gives me my context. So we're talking about used car prices. I look at my X and Y labels. Okay, so we're talking about age in years of the cars. So we start at brand new at 0 and it goes to 10 years. And then they're talking about price in dollars. Okay, and again, 0 all the way up to $22,000. Okay, so I can see from this scatter plot, if I were to draw an arrow that held all of the dots, is that increasing or decreasing? That is decreasing. Okay, so the question is asking me, I know it's decreasing, but what is that relationship? Okay, so I look at it this way. As the cars get older, okay, so I looked on the x-axis, cars are getting older. So as the cars get older, then I look over here. Well, a brand new car is 22,000. Okay, and then it goes down, doesn't it? So as the car gets older, the price is actually going down, isn't it? Okay, the price goes down. Okay, that's what it means when it says describe how the prices compare. So we're just looking to see if it's a new car, it's going to be more expensive, and if it's an old car, it's going to be less expensive. All right, so we are going to use this scatter plot for 1 through 4. Okay, so before we look at our questions, we break it down just like any other graph. So we always look for our title. So look at that, study times. Okay, we look for our labels. The x-axis is time in minutes. And I can see that every tick mark is going by 15 minutes. Okay, remember that's called an interval. Okay, another word for that is increment. Okay, I see on the y-axis we have quiz score, and that each of those intervals are 5 minutes, or 5 points, I'm assuming. Okay, so is there a trend? Well, looks to me like there is, because it looks like it's going up, doesn't it? Okay, so I would say that my trend is increasing. Okay, so now let's answer these questions. What information is shown on the horizontal axis? Oh my goodness, we already know because we looked at that. Remember, this is the horizontal axis. So time spent studying is what is on that axis. Okay, and what information is shown on the vertical axis? Again, that's right here. Quiz score. Okay, number 3, what does the point 1510 represent? Okay, now, if it helps you, do it this way. This is what always helps me with a question like that. So remember, 1510 is my ordered pair, right? Well, remember, it's always X and then Y, correct? Okay, so that means that 15 is on the X, which is the time. Okay, and 10 is on the Y, which is the score. Okay, so what that means is that if I study for 15 minutes, I get a score of 10. Okay, so study 15 minutes, get a score of 10. Okay, now I'm assuming since 20 is the very top score, then that would actually be sort of like a 50 because 10 out of 20 would equal 50%. Okay. Number 4, is there a trend? Well, look at that. We already know that one too because we already figured that out, right? When we were analyzing. So is there a trend? Yes, it is. It's increasing. If so, what does the trend suggest? Okay, again, talk about X first. So remember, going from 0 to 75 is how much time you're spending studying, right? So I'm going to say the more time spent studying, okay, so the more I study, going from here to here, since it's increasing, the higher score I get. Okay. Now, I do want to talk to you about the word outlier. Okay. We've talked about that word before. Okay. If I have a point right here on the graph, is that point with all of the other data points? No, it is way far away from all of the other data points. Okay. So that would be what we call the outlier. It's a point that does not go with all the rest of them. Okay. And so in that case, I would be looking at this person going, okay, what's going on? Okay. This person studied for 75 minutes, but they only got a score of 5. Okay. So I would be saying as the teacher, oh my, what's going on with this person? I need to get with this person and I need to see what is going on. Okay. Perhaps this person is really struggling with math and they need some more help with math. Okay. On the other point, I could have someone who, and it's hard to see right there. Let me erase a little bit of this. Let's say I have someone who is right here. Okay. That's also an outlier because it's not with the other data points. Okay. And that tells me that someone who spent no studying, but they got a 20, which in this case would be 100%. So I also would be looking at that person going, let me make sure that that person didn't cheat, or let me make sure that that person really understands what's going on. Like, I want to know, how did you get that 100% without studying? Okay, so that's what outliers are, and that's why we look at them.